So we are dealing with homework set 26 now, which is primarily from pages 394 through 395. And I'm going to do two problems here. I guess the topic here is maybe just properties of the 6 basic trig functions. That's a little bit of a vanilla title, but let's go with that. These problems, this is problem 37, and it says sine of theta is equal to 2 root 5 over 5, cosine of theta is equal to root 5 over 5. Find all of the other 6 or other 4 trig functions. So just very quickly before we kind of dive into this, let's consider the following. If that is a unit circle, or it doesn't really need to be a unit circle actually, that's a circle, and we're going to represent where sine and theta is. But let's think for a minute that it's a unit circle. Root 5 is about 2.2, and so 2.2 divided by 5 is a number a little less than 1/2. Here's 1/2. There's the cosine, root 5 over 5. Where's the sine? Well, it's going to be this number right here, and that's about 2 times 2.2, 4.4, so it's a little bit more than 0.8, and that's what it looks like right there, okay? Just very roughly, this is about, I'm just going to say 0.4, and here I'm going to say 0.85, I'm just approximating those, sure enough. But one way or the other, the theta is in quadrant 1 here. Now, I didn't really need to do that. I could have just noted that this sign is positive and this sign is positive. And over here, quadrant 1 is the only quadrant in which the sine is always positive and the cosine is always positive. All right, with that, let's just write down the other values. If the sine is this, 1 over the sine is equal to the cosecant, and it's just equal to 5 all over 2 root 5. Maybe we write that root 5 all over 2. If I multiply top and bottom by root 5. 1 over the cosine is the secant theta, and that's going to be 5 over root 5, also known as root 5. The sine divided by the cosine, let me just move this over a bit. The sine divided by the cosine, is equal to the tangent of theta, and that's going to be this value divided by this value, which I think is 2, and that makes the cotangent, which is the reciprocal of the tangent, equal to 1/2. Let's just look through that real quickly. I think that's right. So there's the values: sine, cosine, cosecant, secant, tangent, cotangent. That's problem 37. We're just going to do the same thing very quickly for problem 38. And I think problem 38 is remarkably similar. I think in this case, get my textbook up in the light so I can see it here. Problem 38 says sine is minus root 5 all over 5, and the cosine is minus 2 root 5 over 5. So now, similar problem. Note in this case that both the sine and the cosine are negative, and in fact, in this case, the sine is a value that's a little less than 1/2, and the cosecant is a value that's something like 0.8. So we're talking about, in this case, this angle over here in quadrant 3. Okay, keeping with that color theme, if indeed the sine is minus root 5 over 5. The cosecant, which is the reciprocal of the sine, is going to be minus 5 all over root 5, which is equal to minus root 5. The secant, which is the reciprocal of the cosine, secant, is minus 2 root 5 all over 5. Oh, and I did that wrong. The cosine is minus 2 root 5 over 5. The secant is the reciprocal, minus 2 root 5. And so if I multiply top and bottom by root 5, I get 5 down here, cancels that 5, leaves minus 1/2 root 5. The sine over the cosine is still the tangent. This is maybe a little bit interesting, barely. That means that, to work it out this time so you can see it, the sine is root 5 all over 5. The cosine is minus 2 root 5 all over 5. So if I multiplied top and bottom by 5, I would cancel these 5s. This would cancel and I'd end up with minus 1/2. Plus 1/2 since the minus signs cancel. And 1 over the tangent is equal to the cotangent. And that must be equal to 2. So there you have it. There's problems 37 and 38. You are left to do problems 36 and 44. Thanks.